Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how
He's alive!
Welcome to Where the Weird Ones Are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles or they're lizards or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.
Let's get weird.
What's up, my fellow weirdos? This is Jen and Mondo from 305 Paranormal.
And you're listening to Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are. If you like what you hear, like, comment, sub, and share to hear more. Peace.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with Christina Westervelt, who is a paranormal investigator, and she is probably one of the sweetest ladies that I have ever met in my life. I really enjoyed, conversating with her. We talked about horror movies, her paranormal investigations. Um, it was it was a good variety. She also has a pet skunk we talked about, which is pretty interesting because I didn't know you could have skunks as pets, but now I do. So, you learn something new every freaking day. But no, she was very sweet. Really enjoyed talking to her. Hopefully one day, I'll cross paths with her at one of these events and we can kick it. But I will say real quick, if you're looking for something, for flavor in your food, I highly recommend Bigfoot's Breath from Flavors of the Forest. It's raw garlic dust. They also have a spicy raw garlic dust, and they have a raw ginger dust that should be, if it's not dropped on the website, it will be dropping soon. But they have the spicy and the regular garlic dust, so should definitely go check them out. Flavorsforest.com. You can follow them also on Instagram at flavorsforest. So it's really yummy. I really enjoy it. I put it in everything. It's also in the hot sauce. So hot sauce should be on the website soon. I promise. But 14 Fest is coming up pretty soon, right here in Sanford, Maine, on June 8th. I will be vending. I will have my hot sauce. There will be speakers and a shit ton of phenomenal vendors. So you should definitely check it out. If you don't want to get your tickets at the door, I highly recommend going on Facebook and looking up 40 and Fest. And you should be able to get your tickets right through there. If you cannot figure it out, you can reach out to Paranormal 5. They can send you into the right direction because Paranormal 5 is Richie and Missy who are actually hosting the event. So they're the best ones to contact with if you're struggling for that. But tickets are at the door. I think they're a little bit more than that you would if you got them now, but I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, it should be a good event next weekend. So, hope to see you guys there. And then shortly after, I will be investigating the Conjuring House with Beyond the Shadows and Tales, Trails, and Tavern. So definitely look out for that. We're probably going to go live on Instagram. So if you're not following the Instagram, it's where underscore the weird ones are. But you can also follow me on Facebook where the weird ones are. And if you're interested in being featured on the show, talking about your stories, your paranormal experiences, whether it be, Bigfoot, ghosts, shadow people, aliens, any kind of cryptids, really, anything weird. You want to talk about spirituality, kundalinis, freaking crystals, you know, all those the chakras and stuff. I'm also down for that. If you want to talk about religion, conspiracies that have to do with religion, like any kind of conspiracies, definitely down for those conversations as well. So if you're interested in that, you can hit me up at wheretheweirdonesare@gmail.com. But other than that, please like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review if you so choose to. It would help me out. You can also leave a rating and review on the website, which is wheretheweirdonесarepodcast.com. And there you can also get to the merch. You can get t-shirts and stuff like that. And soon the hot sauce will be on there, I promise. Um, Other than that, Conspiracy Tuesday 12 dropped yesterday. And that's on the Patreon. So patreon.com/weirdos only. That's where you can get there. It's only $5 a month, pretty inexpensive, I think. So you get the Conspiracy Tuesdays, you get story time, and you get a free coffee mug. You get early access to each episode, even though it's probably only going to be like a day or two. But you know, also shout out Rachel for the newest Patreon member. So very happy to have you in the Patreon. It's very sweet and kind of you to join, and I appreciate it very much. And this is Charlie. She's kind of sort of sleeping. But anyways, I'm so happy that you are all here listening to this. You know, I really enjoy having these conversations and meeting these people and having the opportunity to have a platform for these kinds of conversations. It means a lot. So, anywho, I hope you guys enjoy the show. So let's get into it with Christina Westervelt, shall we? Let's go.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Weird! Get weird!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. So happy that you are here. Today I have Christina Westervelt. I hope I said that correctly.
You did.
All right, perfect. It sounds exactly the way it's spelled. That's good. I like it when it does that. That's
Yeah,
always helpful.
Me too.
But she's a paranormal investigator, so we're gonna talk about some paranormal stuff. And Christina, if you don't mind, letting the good people know who you are, and if you have any socials that you want to plug, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, so I'm Christina, like you said. A lot of people know me for the paranormal, and a lot of people know me for being a skunk mom. So I go to paranormal conventions and people come running up to me, "Hey, you're the girl with the skunk." I'm like, "Yes." Charger the skunk. Yes, so you can find me on Facebook if you just look up Christina Westervelt. Also, I do have Instagram. It's at Wicked Chick, WIKIDCHIK. And I do have TikTok. If you just look up my name, or also Charger, my skunk has his own TikTok, called
Nice.
Charger underscore the underscore skunk. Yeah, I've been slacking though. I haven't really been posting a lot on there recently, but yeah, so if you just type my name in any of the social media platforms, you'll find me. But yeah, besides that, I don't know. I don't know.
That's good. That's good for me. Also, I'll put her links in the show notes so you guys can find her that way as well. But anyways, Christina, one of the first questions I like to ask is what got you kind of like started on the investigating of the paranormal?
Um, so I'd love to say that I had some like profound, horrific experience as a child, but I did not. I grew up watching Ghost Hunters with my dad since I was a little kid. And my dad
Nice.
was always really into this. And ever since I was, I don't know, 10, I've been going to haunted houses where, people jump out at you around Halloween time. My dad would take me to Salem, Massachusetts every year around Halloween, and I would do the ghost tours. Salem Paranormal actually used to do a really cool tour, and I'd bring my little old school K2 meter that you have to stick the coin in to keep to keep it on. My dad got me one of those when I was young. So I guess my dad is partially responsible for, getting me into this. And then about 4.5 years ago, I decided to get off my butt and do it like myself because for a long time I was like, oh, I can't stay up till 3 a.m. I'm like, I'm too late. I'm too lazy for this. And then finally I was like, all right, I want to do this. So I used to go to, cemeteries and stuff like prior, but my first big investigation was Mid-Orange Correctional Facility in Warwick, New York, which I'll be going back to next month and in August. It's actually such a cool location. They did 2 episodes of Ghost Nation there, and the place is actually pretty active. The place is huge. But yeah, so I kind of got into it like that. I mean, I grew up on horror movies. I was like 6, 7 years old watching Hellraiser and the original Romero movies and Killer
Hmm.
Clowns from Outer Space and all that stuff. So, my dad's always like, he's an ex retired police officer, and he used to be like, oh, why did you like? I mean, I was a good kid, but he's like, the tattoos and everything. He's like, I don't know how you turned out like this. And I was like, Dad, it's your fault. I'm like, that's what happens when you let a 6-year-old watch Hellraiser, Dad.
Mm.
But yeah, so that's I started young with my father and finally decided to. And also, when I was a teenager and stuff, a lot of these locations weren't letting people in. So it was pretty much breaking and entering, and I wasn't, as my dad was a cop at the time, I was not going to be doing that.
Mhm.
But now, over the past 10 years or so, a lot of locations have been opening up to teams and people, so it's a lot easier now to get in places.
Yeah, it definitely is. I feel like for some reason, I don't know what the reason would be or is, but it seems like there's a lot more people welcoming of like paranormal stuff. Like there just seems to be more of that out there now, more locations that have opened up for investigators to investigate and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. And I've never actually wanted to investigate before. I mean, I've had a lot of experiences growing up, and like you said, watching horror movies at an early age. My dad was it and still is super into like sci-fi and horror movies, and that's where, I got it as well from my dad. And the very first horror movie I ever saw was actually Child's Play 2 when I was 4 years old, and I was like, I was not having it. I was covering my face with the blanket and everything, but I still sat in the living room for the entire movie. And I had one of those blankets that was like crocheted or knitted or whatever, so it had all these like little holes in it, you know? So when I covered my face, I could still see the TV screen. And my cousin, she thought it was the funniest fucking thing that I was scared of this movie. And she was 8 at the time, I believe. So yeah, because she's 4 years older than me. So she was 8 and I was 4, and she was just like, "This is hilarious. I'm scaring the shit out of this 4-year-old kid."
Start me on.
Yeah. And I actually, I went on my first investigation myself, with a team in Florida. I went on vacation in Miami, and they're actually located in Miami. They're 305 Paranormal. I don't know if you've come across
I think
paths with
I've heard
them
of
at all.
them.
Yeah. So I did that, and I did my first Estes, and then I came back home to New England, and I went out to the Bridgewater Triangle with Phil Anderson. I don't know if you're familiar with him in the Massachusetts area. He's exploring with Phil on YouTube. He does a lot of random places. Actually, I think he mostly goes out into the Huckamuck Swamp and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And there was a lot of activity out there. But after that, I was like, I kind of want to do this some more. You know what I mean? And because it's
Got the
interesting.
itch.
Yeah, because out in the Huckamuck Swamp, I got my name. I got the tribe that I'm descendant from, which is here in Maine, and podcast within like 5 or 10 minutes on the Spirit Box. So that was pretty cool. I was
Oh,
like,
cool.
what?
That is
And
cool. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't feel like a Massachusetts radio would be talking about an Indian tribe from Maine randomly, especially at the same time that I happen to be out in the woods in Massachusetts either. So that was
Hmm.
interesting. And then I finally decided to do another one, which is next month in Rhode Island at the Conjuring House. So
Oh,
that's
Conjuring House is
interesting.
cool.
Yeah, have you been there?
I have. I was there a few years ago, and I'm going back in August.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it was dead, no pun intended, when I was there.
So no
But
activity.
no, there wasn't really anything going on. But it was really cool. It was worth it. It's a very iconic location, so I definitely,
Yeah,
glad I went. Yeah.
yeah. Did did you do just a tour or did you stay overnight?
No, no, we were there until like 4 a.m. or so. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
me and my team had gone out and I rented the place out for us for the night, yeah.
nice. Nice. That's what we're doing. We're going check-ins at 7 p.m. and then we have to be out of there by 8 a.m. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
but I
it's
heard,
cool. You'll enjoy it. Let me know how that
yeah.
goes.
Oh yeah, I definitely will. I'll definitely. We're gonna do like a live on Instagram too at some point,
Cool.
either early morning or late night or something. I don't know. But so the first place that you investigated when you decided to actually start doing it, did you get like some good evidence that made you like just want to do this more?
Um, yes. So it wasn't anything crazy. And
Hmm.
honestly, till this very day, I've had some interesting experiences, but I still haven't seen a full body apparition. Um,
Mm.
I'm very hard to impress. Uh, yes, I believe, but
Hmm.
I'm very hard to impress. If it can be explained away by anything, I'm like, nah, nah.
Yeah.
Unless like a ghost steps out and does the jig in front of me, I'm probably gonna try to write it off as something, which could be a good thing and a bad thing.
Hmm.
Um, but I was at Mid Orange Correctional Facility and I was in the A3 building, which is one of the very active buildings on the outskirts of the property. It's not the main building. And I was standing down the hallway and I had the REM pod in front of me and I was by myself and everyone else was like in another room and I was just standing there and all of a sudden I had this feeling like um I, like just like electricity, just static electric, like every hair on my body, like standing up on end, right? Now, I probably would have written that off as like, okay, you can like psych yourself out or whatever. But like right after this happened, my REM pod started going off in front of me. So that's something I've kind of adapted as I've been investigating over the years is I like to use my equipment to, correlate with personal experiences because, like I said, there's a lot of things. The human mind is super, it can play tricks on you. So
Mm.
I like to have it as backup. Although I really don't use as much equipment as I used to. I used to have like two cases, this and that. Now I bring like one case and I probably take two things out of it. Um, but I used to have an Ovilus 5B, and I sold it for tires for my charger. I personally thought it was kind of like expensive novelty. I've had better luck with apps on my phone than the Ovilus. So, but it's personal preference. Some people really like them, but it's like, almost $500. So,
Hmm,
yeah.
that's expensive.
So that was it. It wasn't anything, like I said, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was enough to just be like, and then it was kind of funny because my one friend that was with us, I had put my other REM pod on like top of the stairs, and um it's like going to the second floor, and we heard stuff coming from up there, but I was like, oh, all the windows are busted, it could be like a raccoon or something, and my one friend got super sick and had to run outside, and I'm like, and this was, I don't know, 3 in the morning at this point, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go up these super creepy stairs and grab my REM pod and get the hell out of here. Now I'm like the idiot that you can just shove in the most haunted spot of the place and leave for an hour, and I'm totally fine with it. Um, I'm kind of a pain, like, well, not a pain, but I'm stubborn like that. People are like, oh, don't go there by yourself. It's super dangerous and very haunted, and you're probably gonna get murdered. I'll be like, sign me up.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so that was really cool. And that got me going to, I've done Penhurst is one of my favorite
Ooh,
spots that we
Penhurst.
go to every year. Yep, I'll be actually there Saturday for the Penhurst Paracon. Yep.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So I'll
forgot
be there
about that.
Saturday. And I've done Fort Mifflin in Philly, like I said, the Conjuring House, uh, the Hoover House out in Waynesboro by Gettysburg. Oh my God, I've done so many places that. Oh, Shanley Hotel, another one of my favorites. It's in Napanoch, New York. I've been there like 3 times already this year, but I usually go a few times a year. That place is usually quite active. It's one of my favorite places, and you can stay there, so that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I actually think I've heard of that, but I'm not 100% familiar. So, what's the
Not the
story with that?
Stanley, the Shanley.
Shanley, right, right. I'm not
So
100% familiar with that one. I've heard of it. And I think there's another paranormal group that I had on that talked about it, and I can't for the life of me, at least I think they talked about it, or maybe I just saw them post something about it. But what's the story with the Shanley?
so the Shanley is it's only used for paranormal investigations now, so you're not gonna take mom, dad, and the kids aren't gonna stop at the Shanley to take a nice vacation. Because it looks like, I remember the first time I went to the Shanley and I looked at it from outside and I was like, this is where you come to get murdered.
Oh shit.
um it's just, they need to do some work on the outside. And then you go in and it's beautiful. They did a renovation of the seance room so that it's really nice in there. It's beautiful in there. They did all wood. So the Shanley Hotel was bought by, it has like Irish mobster roots. I think the Shanley
Okay.
family was friends with the Roosevelts or something like that. There's a lot of history
Oh,
between the Shanley and New York City, even though it's in New York State. So there's a lot of spirits supposedly that are there. They say some people say it's a portal because there are a lot of like different spirits. There's of the Bordello area, so there's Anna and Maddie and the other girls of the night. There's Joe and Frank, the Irish mobsters. There's supposedly a serial killer named Adam upstairs. Now, mind you, there's no record of Adam, so if there was a serial killer, they're not far away, like a mile or two down the road. There's a jail, prison, so he stayed there, and they assume that this is him. My friend Stephanie actually works at the Shanley, so I've heard a lot of these stories from her. So it's really cool. There's a lot going on at the Shanley. The spirits are super feisty there.
Oh boy.
Anytime you run Spirit Box, EVPs, any type of necrophonic app, they curse. They are foul-mouthed and sassy at the Shanley. And it's funny because, you know, I've used all this equipment in other locations, and there's nothing like the spirits at the Shanley, I'll tell you that. They will insult you. They will fight with each other. I remember me and Kelly, the owner of the Shanley, were sitting there, and we were doing Estes method, where we were both in the same room, but we couldn't hear each other. We had the headphones on, and we were arguing with each other. So I watched the video after, and me and her were having an argument. We suspect it was the one spirit, Adam, and possibly Joe, that reside on the 3rd floor. But it was really cool. So like I said, you know, this is all the stories and who they suspect to be at the hotel. And it's a cool place. I had my most interesting experience there. I usually stay in the Rose Room because it's the only room that has its own bathroom. The rest of it's like hostel style, and I pee a lot. So instead of wandering the hallways, I like to stay in there, but I've stayed there in that room like 3 or 4 times, and the one year, nothing happened in that room. And then the second year, I stayed in with my 2 friends, and I woke up and there was just something. You just heard tap, tap, tap in the bathroom, and you heard the door creaking. And this went on, like it sounded like something was walking around the bathroom for a good 45 minutes. And then my friend Megan woke up, who was sleeping next to me, and she's like, "Hey, Chris." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Do you hear that?" I'm like, "Yes, I've been listening to it for 45 minutes now." And she's like, "What the fuck?" And as soon as she sat up and said that, it stopped. And all of a sudden, 5-10 minutes later, tap, 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 tap. So it just started up again. And I'm like, all right, spirits,
my.
could you have not done this when we were investigating? I'm like, I'm tired. I've taken my melatonin, and I would like to, this is cool. So flash to the year after, I had stayed in that room, and my friend's son, who was the youngest member of our team at the time, he was sleeping in the room with me, and he was passed out already. It was like 4 a.m. I went back to the room, and he was sleeping already. So I got my pajamas on and got comfortable and laid down, and I pointed my camera facing the bathroom because I knew that the year before, I had some activity going on in there. So about an hour later, I wake up, and you know, the battery's dead on my camera or whatever. You know, it's one of those Sony like full spectrum converted cams, so those batteries don't really last that long anyway. So I was just like, all right, and I went back to sleep. And maybe like 5:45, I wake up, and all of a sudden, like, I feel like pressure, like something's like holding me down in the bed. And I go to, like, I swear to God, I could hear like, you know, old hotel comforters, like they're crinkly. They're not like soft plush comforters like your house, you know, they're just like, I swear you could hear like the crinkling of the comforter. And I felt like something was holding me down, and I went to yell to my friend son Anthony that was in the room with me, and nothing would come out of my mouth. And this happened for, I don't know how long, 30 seconds, a minute, I have absolutely no idea. But finally, you know, I was able to sit up, and I was able to talk, and I was like, was that a dream? I'm like, I don't remember waking up, you know, like I just remember being awake already. I don't remember waking up from it. I'm like, did that really just happen? Like, so I took my hoodie, and I put my shoes on, and I went downstairs to the common area, and I sat there for 3 hours till the rest of my team woke up, partially disturbed and partially in awe, because I've never had anything like that happen to me before. But I was still so confused because I was like, was I awake? Or did I, you know, because it was just the first time I've experienced that. So yeah, I had some interesting things happen at the Shanley, and that was definitely, I think, my most memorable moment at a location.
This is Tracy.
This is Samantha.
This is The Suspended Sentence.
Grab your latte and join us as we enter season 2, starting January 1st of 2024.
A year packed full of serial killers that you may or may not have ever heard of.
Thanks for being there.
Stay safe.
So, would the Shanley be, so you said one of your favorites. Do you have like a specific favorite that you... Penhurst is your actual favorite? What makes, what is it about Penhurst that makes it your favorite?
I've been going to Penhurst, which is in Spring City, Pennsylvania, for ever. I used to go there in my early 20s. I'm 37 now, but I used to go there for their haunted house they do every year in October. And I was always like, oh man, I really want to, I want to investigate this place. So as soon as you get on the property, it's like exhilarating. The property is just insane. The buildings are beautiful, and it's just so wonderfully creepy. I can't explain it. I just love being on the property. I really do. I'm excited to get there on Saturday because there's going to be tons of my friends there as well. But I just can't wait to just be there. The place is so cool. The architecture is cool. There's so many spots to investigate. I've had some things happen there. There's some nights that it's crazy, and some nights that it's just, dead. Like any location though, people are like, oh, that place isn't haunted. And I'm like, what did you spend 5 hours there? I'm like, every location, some nights there's stuff going on and some nights there might not be. And, you can't, it's like fishing. Like I could say, investigating is like fishing. Sometimes you get stuff, sometimes you don't. But I just love being at Penhurst. There's no rational explanation besides the place is massive. There's so many buildings. There's tunnels, which is really cool underneath the property.
Really?
And yeah. There's a Rockwell tunnel and there's the Philadelphia tunnel. There might be others, but those are the only two that are open for investigation. And it's just it's such a cool place. It's such a cool place.
It sounds cool. I mean, I don't even know anything about it really, other than where it is. You know what I mean? And that people investigate it. That's it as well. So, if you don't mind, again, what's the story behind that one as well?
So, Penhurst was an old state school, and also it was wasn't like an asylum, even though the haunted house is called Penhurst Asylum, but it was a hospital type thing where back then, Down syndrome, autistic, things that we wouldn't commit people for now, parents would just dump their kids off, or adults or whatever. They just dump family members off there that had minor issues, So the place became extremely overpacked with patients and understaffed with staff members. So the care wasn't great. They actually had patients that were in adult cribs. Oh my god, I forgot the name of there's a documentary they made on Penhurst. It's my god, this is bothering me now. I can't, my brain likes to fart a lot and I forget names. I just forget everything actually.
That's all right. When I record podcasts, I'll form a question while the guest is talking sometimes, and then as soon as they're done and I have the opportunity to ask that question, I'm like, "Fuck, I forgot it."
Yeah, it's called Suffer the Little Children is the name of the documentary.
Oh, okay.
And it's so basically there's a lot of trauma. There was supposedly a doctor there that, some of these patients would bite and they would, as punishment, yank their teeth out.
Holy shit.
So there's some crazy stuff going on at that place. There's definitely a lot of trauma. I've heard stories in Halloween time. Sometimes they have former staff members come and they'll set them up in the Mayflower building by their little museum, and they'll do like history lectures and stuff like that. And you can sit there and talk to them. So some of the, it's weird because one of the old former staff members said that the place isn't haunted, and the other one was like, so, but I don't know. I was coming out of the Devon building one night and I had two of my friends with me, and I probably would have written this off as nothing if they weren't with me because, again, I'm super skeptical. We were walking out of the Devon building and all of a sudden, so this is in like the middle of the woods, and in between the buildings, there's big fields, and they have raised paths with steps that go up to it and railings like walkways. So something black came flying out of the woods, like ran across the field, grabbed like the railing and like hurtled over it, and then kept going. And the only reason, like, we all caught it out of the corner of our eye, hence why I would have written it off as nothing. But when we all walked out, we looked, all three of us, our heads turned, so all three of us caught it, and we were looking around trying to find deer or something. We couldn't find anything. So, but if they didn't see it too, I might have been like, oh, well, my eyes are playing tricks on me. It's like 2 a.m., but we all saw it, and it was pretty cool. Penhurst is, there's a lot of shadow figure activity. There's a lot of stuff going on there,
I have to go. I have to go there someday. I was gonna go to that event this weekend, but I just, there's so much going on, and I just didn't have the. I don't have the time. I didn't have the time, and I have a couple friends that are going.
That's a hike for you.
Yeah. It is a hike, and I have a whole bunch of friends that are going, and I'm not upset, but like I'm like, yeah, man, I wish I was going, but
yeah, you should have. The place is really cool.
maybe next year. But then I say that, and there's so many things that could happen to you in a year, you know what I mean? So maybe I'll just have to go when it's not an event. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, I always go to Penhurst, the Paracon, and I go to the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash every year. It's my favorite convention because it's like party weekend in Gettysburg, pretty much, with all your para friends.
I'm planning on going to the Gettysburg Bash, so that'll be cool.
Well,
and that's in July, right?
Yep, the end of July, I'll be there.
Yep. Yep. Cool. Maybe I'll see you. But I do see a Ouija board behind you, so I'm curious.
It's not really
do you ever? It's not a Ouija board?
No, actually, it's I don't want to. I'll drop stuff. It's like a placemat. I actually got that at Wilson. I got it at Wilson Castle. I did an investigation there in Vermont, and they had that, and it was super cute, so I grabbed it. And I also got my castle maple syrup made on the property.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm not a big Ouija board person per se. Like, I don't use them very often. I did get so desperate at the Conjuring House because there was nothing going on, and we were at the Conjuring House, and they had one on the mantle that you can use if you wanted to. So me and my friend did try using one at the Conjuring House, but nothing happened. But I used to think that Ouija boards were, oh no, that's how you let in bad things, and now I'm kind of like, I mean, how is it any different than using your equipment?
Yeah.
I really don't think it's any different than, doing an EVP session or using an app or any type of equipment, honestly. It's all about intent, you just gotta be strong-willed and have the intent, and do whatever ritual you have when you leave a location. I mean, I'm pretty guilty where I'll forget to do this sometimes, but I usually, when I get in my car, I'm usually like, all right, Thanks for trying to communicate for me tonight. But you gotta stay there. You can't follow me home. You know? And that's usually all I do. And I like to joke and say that Charger, my skunk, is like my ghost repellent. Because if they tried to follow me home, they'd be like, "What the hell is that? Screw this."
Now, that actually, I meant to ask you earlier. Does he spray at all?
He's decented. He's decented. So they remove
Oh,
the breeders remove their anal glands before they sell them. So,
oh, okay.
but he's like
Interesting.
a mama's boy, you know. He wouldn't spray me anyways because he like sleeps in bed. But he's like a cat dog. Really, that's how I can describe him. He's like a cat dog. He uses pee pads in corners, and I feed him ground chicken and steamed veggies. I cook for him every week, and he's got 80 million sleeping spots. And I thought when I got him, he was gonna be more like a ferret, but he's not. I've had ferrets. He's like nothing like it. He's more sentient, you know. He's just way more like aware and
Aware, yeah.
extremely like affectionate, and you know, he's like a cat or a dog.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't, because I know nothing about skunks other than to fucking stay away from them. So,
No, they're so cute. I love them.
what made you want to get a skunk?
I always wanted a skunk since I was a kid. They used to have them at the pet store by me when I was a kid,
Oh,
and
okay.
at one of the malls. And I always wanted one. And when I was finally out on my own, I got one, and it was the best thing I ever did. I've had everything. I've had ferrets. I have geckos, dogs, huskies. We've had lots of huskies. I've had all sorts of pets, and by far, he's the best. I always want a skunk. He's the best pet I've ever had. He's my child.
Nice. Nice. That's interesting. Well, the things you learn something new every day. So I had no idea that they sold skunks as pets at all.
Yeah, you gotta
So,
go on my reels. Go on my reels and watch some of my Charger videos. He's so cute. I can't take
yeah,
it.
I'll have to do that. That's interesting. Um, but so you had this interesting thing happen to you at the Shanley, right? Would you say that scared you, or it just made you feel like I think you may
Startled.
have said it, startled.
It
Have you
startled
ever,
me, you know?
yeah, have you had something that happened that like scared the crap out of you, or would you say that was probably the most profound?
That's the closest thing to it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm really hard to spook. Like even like at like the haunted houses around Halloween time when you walk around, I'm always like in the front of the group and 3 feet ahead, you know? And I'm like, I barely have a jump reflex anymore at this point because I've just been doing it since I was so young, you know? Like
Hmm.
I know where they're standing before I see them. So, but no, you know, I mean, granted, most of these places are safe and have security and stuff like that, but I think I'd be as far as going into a place that, you know, wasn't actually ran by somewhere, I think I'd be more afraid of the living, you know, of running into some like uh random people, homeless people or something than I would be running into a spirit, you know, because that's what I'm there for. And at the Shanley too, you know, yes, I was startled. I had never had that happen. It's a little unsettling, but at the
Hmm.
same time, I was like, wow, you know, that makes me a more, you know, have more experiences as an investigator. That's cool. You know, this is what I'm here for. You know, so. At the same time, yes, it spooked me. You know, it definitely startled me. But at the same time, that's what I'm. You know, I want something to show up and spit pea soup out in front of me. Like this is this is what I'm here for, you know? Um so no, I don't scare easily. I think I'm more afraid of the living.
Yeah, a lot of people. I feel like a lot of actually, I think pretty much every paranormal investigator I've ever talked to, when I ask about, scary encounters or experiences or whatever, they're like, I'd be more scared of the living. Like, I talked to a Bigfoot guy, Alex Petikoff. He's like, I take my gun because of people more than because of, running into an actual Sasquatch or an animal, because I'm out in like the animals like domain. Like I'm not, unless I absolutely have to, I'm not going to use it on them. But it's more so like when you stumble across somebody like an actual person that may have ulterior motives, because you never know
Yeah.
what people are even doing out in the middle of the woods to begin with. You could be
Yeah, there's some
stumbling on
cool.
a crime.
Yeah, there's a cool spot not too terribly far from me, called Letchworth Village. I haven't gone there yet. It's kind of you're allowed to walk around the property, but you're not allowed to go in. I mean, everyone does. I know plenty of people that have, but
hmm
there's definitely people living in there, you know. So I don't feel comfortable, especially, as a 5'2" chick going into a location where, there might be people on drugs or mentally ill. You don't know. So,
Yeah.
or even just some douche, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable. I like, Penhurst and Mid Orange and all those places are patrolled with security and stuff. So you don't have to, they do get break-ins, actually when you're at Penhurst and you're in the Devon building, which is one of the most broken into buildings on the property, they actually say if you're doing a Facebook Live or anything like that from that building, to say you're in a undisclosed location at Penhurst, because if anyone's trying to break in and sees that you're there, like that's probably going to be the building they're going to do it. So they always say, don't say you're in the Devon building, while you're live. And I'm like, okay.
So do they know like the reason why gets broken into so much?
It's just on the outskirts and it's not in plain view from the main buildings. So
Uh-huh.
it's a little more isolated.
Oh, okay.
So it's
And
more towards the woods.
okay. All right. And people are just going in there just because like homeless or something like that? Yeah. All
Or
right.
just like
Teenagers.
teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is scary. Oh, if I'm gonna go live, I'm gonna get more heightens my possibility of somebody breaking in while I'm in here. Shit, that's
I mean, like I
creepy.
said, they have security there, so to get down the roads to get to the location, you have to go through a security guard and everything too. So
Oh,
I
okay.
have not run into anyone. I haven't run into anyone on the property that wasn't supposed to be, which is fortunate.
That's good. That's good. Have you ever, so have you ever been in a place and just like come across somebody just like hanging out in there or anything like that? Like anywhere? Because
No,
this reminds me of a video I watched today where this woman and her boyfriend are being shown an apartment that they're gonna possibly
oh
rent.
shit.
And they're walking around just viewing it, and she has her camera just like doing a tour of it, and she opens the closet and there's a dude laying inside the closet, and she fucking runs out and she's like, there's a person in
I
here.
would freak out too. You know what? No, I don't think so. I haven't had any issues with that I could remember. Thank God. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'll probably shank somebody if you come
No.
across somebody. I will shank you.
I love this shirt. It's like fabulous.
Yeah.
Since the dawn of time, there has been a beautiful podcast named The Rainy Day Horror Show.
Dusty, that was so fucking bad.
Yeah, I know. Okay, we're let me try out something else. All right, let me try out something else. If you've been looking for a good podcast for the longest time, all right, you go through all of them, you haven't found that perfect one. All right, you haven't found that podcast that captivates you and has everything that you want, right, within a horror channel? Well, look no further. Look no further. Welcome to the Rainy Day Horror Show, okay? We are the Buckies of the horror podcast genre. Weird pause there, Big D, but we're fucking rolling.
Keep going, Dusty. We're doing fucking good right now.
Thank you, all right? Yes, we are the Buckies of the podcast genre, the horror community Buckies. Or if you want to even go even further, we're the 7-Eleven, all right? We've got horror movie breakdowns. We've got interesting interviews. And not to mention, we cover true crime, paranormal, urban legends, all right? I am your host with the most and the certified cougar hunter, Dusty McBalls. All right, and the other guy that you hear me talking to, he is the intro king. The man, the myth, and the legend, the man from down under, Big D. Big D, say hi to these people and tell them about yourself.
Hello, guys. I am Big D. I am the intro guy.
Thank you, Big D. That was fucking perfect. The lights flickered when you did that. Kind of terrified me, but we're here, all right? We upload on this channel 4 days a week, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 and 7. So if you're looking for that horror, channel that does it all, come check out the Rainy Day Horror Show. We got everything that you need. Remember, stay frosty, stay foxy. Most importantly, the most important thing on this channel, well, planet, fuck. Stay safe, you beautiful peacocks. Me and Big D, we love you. Deuces.
So when you're investigating, what would you say is like your favorite tool to use?
Like I said, I don't use a lot of things anymore.
Right.
I'll grab a couple cat balls, I'll grab my REM pod. I'll usually use a recorder on my phone because I have a Zoom H4n Pro, whatever, like the $400 Zoom recorder, and you could catch a mouse farting on the other side of the building, but I have never gotten a
Damn.
single even peep on the thing. So I think it's just too good. I think it filters out a lot of what you want to hear. And
Yeah.
I know people that have caught things on their Zoom before, but I haven't. So I'll just use my phone or whatever I have. I just but I've been like really veering away from I have I have a Melmeter. I have oh my God, my brain is so fried. I have a EDI. I have a lot of stuff, and sometimes I'll grab it. But my problem is I feel like I've spent so much time over the years with my head buried in my camera or staring at equipment that I've missed shit. The people that I'm with are like, "Oh, did you see that?" or whatever, and I'm like, "No, I'm just looking at my camera," So I feel like I've missed so much, and I just am been concentrating. I like set it and forget it equipment now, something that's gonna alarm, that I don't have to stare at the whole time. Because I just been trying to be more present in the moment and just look and watch and observe. I've just been
Yeah.
using myself as my equipment rather than but like I said, I like set it and forget it equipment, because then it does, if something happens and my equipment go off at the same time, I know I'm not a wackadoodle and something might have been going on. So I think less is more, and I hear that from a lot of investigators over the years, that they just start off with so much, and then you just slowly and slowly end up with like two things. The one piece, oh my God, someone I knew had one of those paranormal music boxes, and it was the most, that and the teddy scare, not teddy scare, that's the doll I have sitting on my Boo Buddy. That thing is really annoying too.
Is that the one that like lights up, eyes light
And
up,
talks
or?
to you. The Boo Buddy is a little yeah, is a little teddy bear that like will talk to you, and if it's getting cold, like the temp drops, it'll go, oh, it's cold in here, and then it'll like ask EVP questions, and I think it's a great idea, but it doesn't shut up. Um, so forget about trying to do an EVP session or listen to the sounds around you, because all you're gonna hear is, oh, it's cold in here. So there's a lot of really cool equipment out there, but a lot of it's really annoying, and hindering of investigations. Personally, everyone has their own, preference and what they like to use, and some people might like this stuff. It's just not for me.
Cool. I would say, do you ever use a spirit box? Because I personally, I think that's a pretty cool thing to use.
I hate using. I have the SB7. And I'll use it occasionally. I actually like using, and I am not an app person. Like, I hate phone apps, but I actually really like the Necrophonic app. That's like the only app that I like using. It's called Necrophonic. I've gotten some really cool stuff with that. I mean, it's kind of like using the Spirit Box, but a little less annoying. I just don't like any of that. Like, there's so much interference with
Yeah.
the the radio waves, so it just might be words getting blurted out from one of the radio stations. And I mean, like any of your equipment, you have to use it with a grain of salt. If you
Right.
get a response that's irrelevant versus if you ask a specific question and it's like a direct answer, but not every word, even with the apps or the spirit box or the freaking Ovilus that I had, same concept. It would spit words out, and some of it made no sense. Most of it made no sense. Uh, but yeah, so I don't really use my SB7 too much. I think, and actually, we were at Samuel Miller Mansion in Pennsylvania a few years ago, and we were in one of the rooms, and they had a bunch of kids' toys up there, and they had this little bee that lit up and like danced and sang and talked to you. And we were getting some weird, like it was going off, and it was like kind of responding to our questions, which was really weird. And then I turned the SB7 on, which was really loud and obnoxious, and all of a sudden it was like, I forgot what it said, but it was like I really, like, my memory is really bad. I'm gonna end up like in a hospital not knowing who I am. I forgot what
Eat
it
some
said,
mushrooms.
but
Portobello.
yeah. It responded something about like it being loud or something, or turn. I forgot what it was, but it
Yeah.
even like if that was a spirit interacting with us, they weren't a fan of the spirit box. It was just, I don't know. I really just like silence now and just listening. You listening for movement, footsteps, voices. That's kind of what I'm looking for now. Stuff that I can't explain away by possible radio interference or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good, like just using yourself is a really good way to go about it. Before, like when I was a kid, we would sit there and because we knew we were all seeing shit when we were kids. My sister and I, and then like I had some step siblings that were around for a little while until my stepdad left. But we would sit in like one of the bedrooms and just sit there in silence, trying to see if we could hear or see something. And a lot of times it was just like little like house creaking, and that scared the crap out of us at like 10, 11, 12 years old, where it was like, oh, what is that? But
Yeah, you have to like get, I mean, when you're younger, obviously, but I mean, I was just at a few months ago, I was at the Burlington County Jail Museum in New Jersey. That's where I live. I live in Jersey. And me and Stephanie, my friend that works at the Shanley, were investigating there, and it was towards the end of the night, and the heater Like we thought that we heard like one of the jail cells is because they have these really heavy iron doors, and I thought it was one of them, but it's actually I'd been downstairs earlier in the night, so I knew the pipes and the heating system there is really loud, really, really loud. So that's just something I always tell, everyone who's starting out is like, just get familiar with the noises of the place. Because I'm not a religious person, so I like refuse to believe in anything that I can't prove, if that makes any sense,
Yeah,
So
a
I'm
lot of
kind of
people.
that. And a lot of people are like, well, how are you not religious and you're an investigator? And I'm like, because it doesn't mean, just because there's an afterlife and spirits doesn't necessarily mean that it's a religion thing.
Yeah.
But you know, where was I going with this? Oh, so I kind of carries over to investigating, where me being a skeptical investigator. So if it's something it could have been, like I said, a raccoon, it could have been the heat, it could have been like what happened to me in the Shanley. I knew that wasn't normal sounds for the room because I had stayed in that room like 1 or 2 times before, So that's just something always to keep in the back of your mind when you're at a location.
For sure. For sure. Um, if you can, if you had any advice that you could give to somebody that's just starting out as a paranormal investigator, what do you think would be like the best, you know, thing that you could give, a best thing of advice that you could give somebody starting out?
2 pieces of advice. One, kind of reiterating on this, don't spend your life savings on equipment. You don't need all of it. And 2, it's probably dust. It's probably not an orb.
Yeah.
I guess that's one of my pet peeves. I take pictures of my skunk in my room, and sometimes I pick up pieces of dust in the photos. It doesn't have to be an old rickety place to get dust in your photos, everyone. I don't know, just, and I guess that goes with like, believe but be critical, let's not bring it to the some people make it look bad. It's like, oh my God, it's a demon. It's like, no, it's probably most likely, actually, I guarantee you, it's not a demon. Yes, there are, spirits that might be a little cranky. If you were shitty when you were alive, you're probably shitty when you're dead. But it's probably not a demon. If demons even exist, running across them is probably very minor. Like, it probably doesn't happen very often, and don't watch Ghost Adventures, and believe it. Watch it because it's fun and you enjoy it for entertainment, but you're not gonna go to a location and get possessed 8 times and then bring something home, and it's not gonna murder your family. So,
Aaron, the ghosts think that I am hot.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm not saying anything. My friend Shane, if he sees this, he loves Ghost Adventures. He's gonna kill me. And I'm not talking trash or anything. It's just when you're starting out, these people, it's TV, things are embellished. 2, even if they're not, they spend like a week at a location. So if you go to a place and spend 5 or 8 hours somewhere, don't expect something to happen every 10 minutes, because they'll film for like a week in order to get that hour episode.
And they only give you the parts that shit happened, and it kind of seems like it's happening back to back.
And if nothing's happening, guess what? Oh, look, that chandelier's moving. That's so just TV shows, entertainment. I'm not saying all of them. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's some that's legit, but just develop your own investigation style and be very critical of your evidence and just don't be that guy.
So early on you had mentioned that, you grew up watching horror movies and that you have a really good big interest in that. I was wondering if you can, what if you can name one anyway, because I can't. I can't. I have to give you like a list. But what is your favorite horror movie?
There's different like levels of favorite. Um,
Yeah.
my favorite like cheese movie is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I have Killer Clowns from Outer Space up all over my room. I actually went on a spree at Spirit Halloween this year and got the cotton
Oh
candy gone
man.
and the popcorn launcher. But I went the day after Halloween, so everything was half off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space and like the old school Romero and Hellraiser, everything I was growing up on. I love like
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors and
Yeah, that's a
like
good one.
all of that stuff, and then like I mean I loved the Sleepy Hollow, with Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, oh my God, there's just it doesn't it takes a lot to spook me. I'm still waiting for a horror movie that actually scares me because none of them do. I actually, a lot of people don't, but I enjoy like all the Conjuring movies. The
Me
Pope's
too.
Exorcist was actually pretty good that came out. I don't
Oh
really have like a favorite. I kind of just binge it. Like that's all I watch
yeah.
is
Yeah.
horror TV shows.
Yeah, I like the Conjuring movies. I like the movies that because the ghost ones are the ones that kind of like creep me out. Like they don't like necessarily 100% scare me, but after I'm done watching it and the house is dark and I have to walk to my bedroom, I'm just like, I don't know if I
Ah,
want to right now.
Pumpkinhead. Sorry, I almost forgot Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, that's a good
Did you ever
one
see
too.
Pumpkinhead?
I have, yeah.
He's
It's
badass looking.
he is
I mean,
badass looking. There's a
the
lot
second
of
one was
I haven't seen the second one.
it was bad. It was bad. He was still cool looking, but it was bad.
Yeah. I heard it was bad because it's kind of low budget anyway.
Yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, Pumpkinhead himself was like really awesome.
Yes. Yeah. There and I think that's one of my favorite things about especially like 80s and 90s horror movies is that they spend so much time on like prosthetics and makeup and stuff
Mhm.
where it actually looks really dope where now it's just like all computer CGI stuff and it doesn't
Yeah,
even look real. It doesn't look like it's
yeah.
physically there because it's not, you know, and that bothers me
So
sometimes.
a question for you, Jason, Freddy, or Michael Myers?
Like a favorite? Which
Yeah,
one's my favorite?
yeah.
Um, shit. I think I
Right?
have
Hard
to go
decision.
Michael Myers.
I'm Jason. I'm Jason.
Yeah.
They're all great
I,
though.
yeah, they are. I think Kane Hodder did a really good job at uh Jason
Oh yeah,
when he
I've
did.
met him a
Like, 'cause
bunch of
he didn't do
times.
all
Yeah.
of them, but yeah, have you?
No, he did. Yeah.
He's yeah. And then it's when I think it was Jason X and the Jason Goes to Manhattan that kind of like
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
why are we doing
Yeah.
this?
Or like even the new Halloween, like.
Yep.
But
Yep.
the only thing I liked about it is like the older movies, it was like, and that was it. But this time, like, he stabbed you and then, like, dragged your body and, like, beat the living crap out of you and, like, killed you in, like, 80 different ways before he left you. So, like, it was really graphic, and I'm
Yeah.
so So the kill scenes were good in the new movie. I have to say the kill scenes were good. I love like gory shit like Terrifier. I think that's like my new favorite. I
Yeah.
love Art the Clown. I was watching the first one and he was like sawing the girl in half by her hoo-ha. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Like, this is great. Like, look at her, this is funny. And then my friends are like,
What is wrong
I'm
with
like,
this
this is
lady?
like my spirit animal. Like,
Yeah, I have like an issue with clowns. So I have a
oh,
hard time
really?
watching anything with clowns. Like, so when I was a kid, it was definitely a fear. Now it's just more of a uncomfortable, like, feeling. You know what I mean? Like,
I
and
really love creepy clowns. I don't
yeah,
know why.
I think it was because of Killer Clowns from Outer Space and It, to be honest with you. Like, I think and because I'm also afraid of, like, to this day, I am actually afraid of dolls. So Child's Play, It, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it's dolls and clowns. But now, like, clowns don't really scare me. It's just more like I don't know if I want to watch. I don't know if I want to be around somebody who like dresses up as a clown, and I'm not 100% like down for like watching a horror movie with clowns in it. I
I
will. I'm
think
not saying
like
that I won't, but
But I
like it's
think
not my favorite.
clowns, like if you go to the circus and see
Yeah.
clowns, I think they're creepier than like horror clowns. Like I love horror clowns. Clowns at the circus are they kind of skeeve me out a little bit, you know?
Yeah, they seem like creepy people to begin. If they didn't have the makeup, would probably still be fucking creepy. And then they put the
Yeah.
makeup on, and then this just magnifies their creepiness to me, and personally. Like I remember when I was finally like over like the clown thing, but I was still just like, it's okay, just don't come near me kind of thing. And I went to a circus, and one of them grabbed me by the hand to pull me out in the middle of like a show. And I was just like, I almost swung at him, and he was just like this little Mexican guy. He didn't even speak English, I don't think. But I got so mad. I was just like, oh my God, you're so tiny, I'd probably kill you. But it was it was really interesting, and
That's funny.
I was kind of like not shaking, but I was just kind of like I don't I was uncomfortable. And not
Yeah.
only being out in front of a bunch of people, but to have this clown putting his hands on me. It was fucking weird.
Yeah,
Um,
my best friend Megan is terrified of clowns. Terrified. So every year we'd always go to like every weekend in October we'd be at haunted houses Friday, Saturday, and there's always that section of the haunted houses that have the clown room and the clown house and whatever. And
mhm.
I would always, like I said, I'd always be ahead of everyone, and the clown would come up to me and I'd be like, "Listen, there's a girl behind me and her name's Megan and she hates clowns." And they'd be like, okay, so they'd go by Megan and behind me and they'd start banging on shit and they'd be like, Megan, and she's like, fuck you, Christina, I hate you. What are best friends for? She's been my best
Yeah.
friend since I was 15. And every time I always stick the clowns on her. It was like my highlight of the haunted house.
I I did this my ex-wife and I did a haunted walk. It's just like a trail walk and people jump out and scare you. Well, there's this part where it's a house and it's a clown house. And there's like a jester guy standing outside and I saw him and I was just like, fuck, I know what's inside of here and I don't want to do
Was it
this. And
Spooky World?
is Destination Haunt up
Oh,
here
never
in
heard of
Maine.
it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think
I
it's
go
like
to
world renowned or
Spooky
anything.
World in New
Yeah.
Hampshire. No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard about that one. I actually
Hmm.
don't even think Destination Haunt does it anymore, but regardless, I went in and there's this clown sawing up a person and I was just like, "Oh shit, okay." And he turns around and he has this like obviously it's fake knife, but of all the movies that I've seen of like serial killers hiding as like a person, I was just like, shit, wearing a mask, I can't tell who this person is. I need to get away from him. And he's coming towards me. And then I can't find where I'm supposed to go. And I turned around and I looked at him and I go, where am I supposed to go? And he just like points at the fridge. So there's like a fridge, it's in the wall. And I grab a hold of the fridge handle and open it, and it leads to a hallway. And as I open it, this woman comes through it and sticks her face in my face and just goes,
Oh shit.
and I went, woof, and freaking she ducked because she as soon as she
Oh,
came
you're
up
one of those, huh?
and
You're a
then went
swinger.
like that. Yeah, it freaking because I wasn't expecting it as I opened the door. For some reason I was expecting to see an actual fridge, like inside of a fridge. I'm like, what? But yeah, she like put her face right into my face. I swung as I'm swinging. She's like reverted because she held on to like the sides of the door frame to push herself out, and then she pushed herself back in. And I was like, I am so sorry. She's like, it happens all the time. She goes, that's why I reverted back so fast. So, but
Yeah.
I felt bad, but that
Um,
scared the crap out of me.
Eastern State Eastern State Penitentiary does a great haunted house as well, in
Yeah.
Philly, which sucks because you can't invest. They don't let you investigate there anymore. I've always wanted to investigate there, and like a year before I started doing this, they stopped because the new people running it wanted to concentrate on the history. I'm like, I'm sorry, the paranormal is part of its history, but okay.
Yeah.
But they do a really awesome haunted house there every year, and it's cool because you can opt in if you want them to touch you or not, and they put a Penhurst, they touch you, they don't give you a choice. Eastern State, they give you a glow necklace
Yeah.
if you opt to get touched, and it was cool because they'll pull you from your group. One year they pulled me from my group. I had to go through a ball crawl. But the one time it was really cool because I got yanked from my group, and it was early in the day, so there wasn't really that many people there, and they took me through this door, and it brought me all the way to the beginning of that building. So I got
Uh,
to go, and no one, like I said, no one was really there yet. I got to go through the whole building by myself again, and I was having a blast. Most people would be like, "Oh my God, I'm by myself." I was like, "This is awesome, man. I'm going through the clown room and everything's 3D." And I'm like, "This is great." And I was so excited because I've always wanted to go through one of those by myself. Um, Such a cool place. It's a shame they're not doing investigations anymore.
that is a shame.
I hope one day they actually open that back up again because the place is so cool.
Yeah. Well, hopefully in the near future, but you never know. But I love the fact that there's people out there trying to like preserve history in like historical buildings. Like you said though, paranormal being a part of its history, I feel like you would want to welcome that as well. And I feel like a lot of places just started opening their doors. Like I said in the beginning, just started opening their doors for paranormal investigation
Hmm.
recently, like the past just couple of years, which is pretty dope. Um, but yeah, so um, I think that's all the time that I have for tonight.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, Christina, just letting
Oh no,
everybody
thank
know
you.
one more time where they can find you.
You can pretty much, if you just look up Christina Westervelt on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, you'll find me. My IG is at Wicked Chick, WIKIDCHIK. But like I said, if you just look up my name, it'll come up. Um, and yeah, and make sure you check out my skunk chargers. TikTok, Charger the skunk. Um, I go live with him sometimes, and everyone loves him, but I don't blame.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm most active on Facebook though.
All right, all right. Oh, which I found out recently. I tried to message Christina, and her for some reason Facebook wouldn't let me, so I just started messaging her on Instagram, and I think it was like a week later she's like, "Oh, hey, I'm answering you now." I use Facebook more, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I know, I never check my Instagram. I'm terrible. My Facebook auto posts to it, so it's kind of like forget
Oh,
it for a
yeah.
while.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That's pretty. that's pretty cool that does that in a way. I should probably do that for the podcast though, because I forget to
It's
post stuff
easier.
on Facebook all the time. All the
Mm-hmm.
time. So
Yeah, you can do it as if you post on Instagram, it'll auto post to Facebook. It's very convenient instead of posting the same shit.
yeah, this sounds very convenient. And then having to type out all the information that you just typed out on another platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So real
Well, thanks
quick,
for
I know
having
you
me
said,
on.
yeah, no, thanks for coming on. Like, I really appreciate it. Like, I say every episode to everybody, you know, time is our most valuable currency. And the fact that you gave some time to me just to talk about this weird stuff and about, you know, your experiences and whatnot, like, it means the world to me, because without people like you, I would just be talking to myself. Not that I would not do it. I just don't know
I
if it
would
would
too.
be
I
as
would too.
entertaining. But I know you said that you have Penhurst coming up and you're going to do the Gettysburg Bash. What other events, real quick, that people might be able to run into you at that you have coming up this year?
I will most likely be going to New Jersey Para Unity also, which is in November.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it this year. I have some investigations lined up, but as far as cons and stuff, that's all I got on the books for this year. So
There's one on June 1st in New Jersey. What the hell is it called? I can't even remember what it's called now. But it's in Amperth, New Jersey, I think it's called. I just
you
can't.
will
I
have
think
to
it.
look into that and message me because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
They just
I'll
had the
have to
White
find
Hill
it.
Mansion one. They just had the White Hill Mansion one last weekend, which I didn't make it to, but I didn't know there was
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah, so I want to go to that one because New Jersey's only 5 hours away from me, and I could do that in a day. Or I might even just stay at a hotel that Saturday night and then just go home in the morning because it'd be like nothing. I've driven to freaking Arizona. I've driven to Pennsylvania for events. I've driven down to North Carolina for events, and New Jersey would be nothing. But Ron Moorhead's gonna be there, and I don't know if you know who that is, but he's a pretty big name in the Bigfoot community. And I met him twice now, and I'd love to try and get him on the podcast.
Oh, is that in New Jersey? Is that at the Pine Bush UFO Museum in New York? Sorry, New York. They have Bigfoot people.
No, it's
When
in
you
New
when
Jersey.
you get off and get settled down, let me know.
I'll send you a thing for it because I did see it, and people have told me about it. So, but yeah. So again, I really appreciate you coming on tonight, and everybody go check out her stuff and go check out Charger on TikTok. But that's all I got for you. Please like, follow, share, subscribe if you feel so inclined to do so. And if you really are feeling generous, leave a 5-star rating and a nice review. And you can also do that on the website where the weird ones are podcast.com, and the hot sauce should be on the website. And I know I keep saying it, but it should be on there within the next week or so. And what else do I have for you? That's pretty much it, I think. So remember, everybody, question everything and stay weird.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky. When the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day, make a wish.